if we... Okay, yeah?
I don't know what else we should do.
Well, once I push all that out, pull the little table out, I don't know, how many... If we had to do measurements, how many square feet do you feel like that pocket is over there?
That looks like, what, 8 10 feet?
Yeah. So we get a little 6 to 8 foot table. Like, how big is this table right here? 6 feet?
I would say this is...
Not even 6 feet.
No, this is probably like 5.5.
So if we get a 6 foot table, 6-7 foot table, 2 pretty decent chairs off to the side. I want to get one of those perma mics, the mics that are always bolted on there, like the nice ones that have the audio jacks.
Oh shit!
Not this. I'm tired of breaking these fuckers down. I just want to keep them like locked in on there. I got my DBZ poster right there. What would you want to put behind you? Because I want them to signify our shit.
Well, see, in that I don't really have posters.
It doesn't gotta be a poster, just anything that'll signify you. I mean, we can get something, and then how do you want to?
I'll think of something.
We can do it long way, right?
Well, do you want us to sit on either side of the table, or you want us to sit next to each other?
Probably like how we used to do it. How we would be across.
Across.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking for video purposes.
That's what I'm also trying to figure out is if we're gonna be able to.
If you want the videos hitting our faces. We would need 2 cameras, one for you, one for me,
That's
and then a third camera.
So one camera right here, one camera in the kitchen, and then us, one on one side, one on the other side.
We can do it. It's just... It'll
be a lot of moving around and stuff like that, but I feel like once I clear all that out, there's more space than it looks like. Sorry, guys. We're
brainstorming.
We're brainstorming. I'm pretty excited.
Project Airwaves is evolving.
Yes, 2020,
like a Pokemon.
Like the very first week, second week of 2023. Plan is to get just fully operational with just video content, meaning that we can consistently have you guys looking at our beautiful faces.
No, Lynn just wants all the attention.
Yeah.
He just wants all the attention. I'm ugly.
I'm tired of Darius's beautiful voice.
He's beautiful.
Covering my good looks.
You fucking wish. Okay. All right. Well, now that we've gone past the appetizer, let's jump into the main course. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I'm D.
This is Lynn.
Project Airwaves. We're, rock. No, let's not go there. How you doing?
I'm here.
It's December. Sorry we missed you. Hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving.
Do you remember? Oh, no, that's September. You know what? There's a commercial where they're saying, "Do you remember the 21st day of December?"
Why?
But it's supposed to be September.
No, stop.
I don't know. It's
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
But it's J.C. Penney's trying to.
That's racial appropriation. Go eat a chode.
Yes. So,
you had some shenanigans pop off for Thanksgiving, sir.
Yeah. So I spoke to most of my family about it already, but where we went to go get tacos? Right over here.
Yeah.
So in that parking lot, there's a liquor store, right?
Oh.
It was Thanksgiving Day. I want to go, and this is, we've got a lot of topics to cover, so I don't even know if we're going to be able to all hit it in one thing.
Give us details.
But Thanksgiving Day, I'm about to go to my dad's. My brother and my uncle are there, and I was going to pick up a bottle of Jameson. Just some whiskey to take over there so we could chill.
Something to sip on.
And the way that liquor store is set up when you walk in, it's interesting.
Ratchet.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not bad. I've seen worse liquor stores. The way that this thing is set up is that when you walk in, it looks like a library shelf of just alcohol.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And everything on that side is covered in plexiglass to where even the clerk has to open a plexiglass door like a bank vault to get in there. Obviously, because these places get fucking robbed a lot.
Yeah. Wow.
Now, when you walk in, so if I'm pointing at Dave right now, if I were to walk in straight, everything is on the left.
Yeah.
On the right-hand side, there's aisles that lead to where all the beer is. But all the liquor is up there, and it's any kind of liquor you can get. It's about as good as you're going to get besides going to Lee's Liquor or Total Wine and stuff like that. So I walk in there, and I'm looking to see where the Jameson is, and there's 2 people standing in front of me waiting at the cashier's clerk, the clerk spot. So as I'm walking in, I have my back to a soda machine. Not a soda machine, but like a little Monster energy drink machine. And the aisles, like I'm standing here, the door is right here, and the aisles are right there, and the wall's right there in front of me.
It's real tight.
And I see a vagrant, homeless person, walk in. It's BMA, walks in, and he's kind of like, he power walks in, and just kind of looks around and then pauses and then just looks at me. But he's looking down at my waistline. So I'm like, okay, I've been around vagrants multiple times with work and stuff like that. It's no big deal. So I go to start walking on the other side to see where the bottle is. And I had different levels of Jameson, the smaller one to the bigger ones. And the vagrant is still watching me. He goes down the aisle to circle back around to the other side. And
what
still,
the fuck?
like making it obvious as day that he's looking at me.
Right.
I'm like, okay, whatever. So I go back to where the register is. I put my back against the wall, and he pulls right next to me, hands in pocket, and just keeps doing this. And for the people that are listening, he's looking at my waistline and then looking straight, and then looking at my waistline and looking straight. My keys are on my side.
Yeah.
and I have a little screw thing on there to where it's a clip.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, like it locks in the place.
Yeah, so it locks in place so you can't lose it or get pulled off without ripping my fucking pants off.
Yeah.
So I tighten my clip and I stand there and I'm thinking, I'm like, there's no way this guy's this dumb to try and take my shit in
Get the fuck out of here.
I kid you not.
No.
My dad, the girls, they can all vouch for it because like right after this had happened, and I'll follow into the story right afterwards. Right after this had happened, I called them and I talked to my dad and stuff like that. My hands were still shaking. Adrenaline was still pumping. And I explained the whole thing to them, and they're like, dude, what the fuck?
What the fuck?
So as I get ready to walk up to the front, this guy grabs my key and tries to pull.
Uh-huh.
So I dragged, and put my drink down.
Yeah.
I drag his arm across my hip line, and I put my hand on the side of his face.
Right.
Because he's right next to where that little monster machine was.
Mm-hmm.
I push his face in there and pull his arm so he's stuck like this. And he makes like this noise like, and just... like a South Park person when they die, like stuck against the wall, and I can feel how dirty he is because my hand is pushed up
and
against,
it's sticky,
and I'm not trying to hold
nasty.
him for long.
Right.
So I let go of his hand and I kind of push him in front of me, like pretty much smack his face to get him in front of me because I was like, okay, if I'm gonna fight with this guy, head on. I need him head on.
Right.
I can't have him on my side.
Right.
And I'm ready for it. Adrenaline's already pumping. The clerk, the people that are in front of me already left, and the clerk is sitting there watching.
Right.
Like
he's stupefied.
and the beggar just looks at me and goes, and then just runs out the door because the door was right there, and then takes off. So the clerk looks at me and goes, "Do you want me to call the cops?" And I was like, "No." I'm like, "Just let me get my alcohol so I can leave." There's no point because he's not there. I'm saying by the time I bought it and walked outside, and the clerk asked me 3 different times, "You sure don't want me to call the police? Are you fine?" I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm good." My adrenaline was pumping.
Yeah.
I walk out, the guy's gone, just fucking gone.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So when I was talking to the girls about it, and I was talking to my dad, he goes, "Dude, my brother made a point too." Because he had to have seen me walk in.
Yes, he was spotted.
Because to take my keys, you have to know where the car is.
But what the fuck was he gonna do? It's obviously he can't drive.
Get in the car.
I guess.
Lock it, and then wait for me to try and fucking get him out.
I guess.
Because my car, because of how that lot was, there's not a lot of areas to put these cars.
Yes.
So where my car is, there's maybe 4 cars in the lot. And it was middle of the day, mind you, like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Not even. Yeah. It was like 1:30 in the afternoon. So
holy shit.
Yeah. So I mean, it sucked because I kind of tore a little bit of my belt lining.
Yeah.
But it's good that it happened to me. And not somebody that wasn't obviously prepared. Like you did it for the wrong person. It's like attacking John Wick on a not to compare myself to John Wick, but attacking John Wick
fucking dog.
At a fucking grocery store or on a fucking bus, and he has a pencil next to him.
Oh
like,
my gosh.
When I did everything that I did, it's like because I'm so aware, I knew what was coming.
Oh yes.
And what he was doing.
Your spidey senses.
But the only thing that I wasn't aware of is that I didn't feel like someone watched me walk in because I walked in and I'm in a.
Well, I mean,
it's not. You see where it's at. It's not like the best lot.
Yes.
It's like there's nothing in that lot other than a couple things.
Yes.
So
well, and it's one of those things. It's like we talked about in one of the previous episodes. When people don't, and we're not bragging, but when people don't fuck with you for so long, you drop your guard just a little bit. And then you're like, okay, I know if nothing else, if somebody's coming for me, they have to be this strong or this build or, you know what I mean? You're like, your brain makes up scenarios.
Yeah, and when I was in active security working on the casino floor, my nerves were always at a heightened level because I was working 10-hour days on graveyard where it was constant dealing with homeless people, dealing with fights.
Every day.
Where I'm at now, I still train and fight. You've seen the videos.
Yeah.
Like we still have to go. I still actively am in physical contact.
But you're not in danger.
I'm not in danger.
Yes.
It's in a controlled environment where I can go hands-on, and if I wear out or either the student wears out, we stop.
You can just stop.
But when I did it, it moved. So even Noah made a comment. He goes, "Dude, that was like something out of a movie."
Yes.
Because the way that I had done it, or what was it? No, I don't know if it was Noah. It was her brother. When I did it, everything just moved naturally to where he had a grip on my pants, and it wasn't that I was any stronger than him, but I was able to torque his wrist, to bend his arm, so his arm, rather than it being straight, rotated out to where he was already stuck. And that's one of the moves that we teach at work. It's called an arm bar takedown, and it's defensive tactics. You literally have to bar the arm out at an angle.
Yes.
You lock up the wrist, and then you guide him down to the ground.
Well, I don't think people understand the value of jiu-jitsu and kung fu and self-defense. It's because a lot of people, especially attackers and predators, they don't expect you, to know how to defend yourself, and B, they don't expect you to know the moves you know. So that guy was probably expecting you probably just hit him with a few haymakers or something like that.
And him be able to get hit a couple times,
right?
And get my shit.
You completely threw him off his guard.
He pulled my belt enough to try to pull me off balance.
Right.
And I'd already locked my base in strong.
Right.
To know that I'm like, all right, you're gonna pull me, but you're not gonna move my body.
And most people aren't prepared for that.
No. So
they don't think that through.
So his reaction when I got him in front of me, I'm thinking, all right, we're gonna square up. But at the end of the day, he has nothing to gain.
Right.
Because my keys are still there, and now if I fuck you up, you have nothing. Opposed to had he taken my keys and taken a couple hits from me, he still could have taken off my keys because he was fast. When I came outside, it was within like 30 seconds of me buying the alcohol and walking out the door that this guy was already out of sight.
That's fair.
And I couldn't see where he was.
That's
I'm like,
fair.
Okay, so
you ain't catching no crackhead.
No. Just to lump all of that together, like I said, adrenaline was pumping. I was good. Day or two later, I went to the gym with my brother, and I'm starting to put in perspective now. It's crazy. There's three things that I've noticed with this town, and it's not for the better, unfortunately. Me and you grown up here pretty much most of our adult life.
Yep.
And it's gotten to the point now where there's three things that I'm seeing that's for how actively outside I am and where I patrol.
It's like a recurring theme.
Is there's a lot more homeless people.
Yes,
a lot.
Unfortunately.
I'm talking, just areas where there never used to be homeless.
Yes.
There's homeless now.
Yes.
There's more pigeons, more birds. If you start to look at the rooftops, even in this complex and other areas, there's so many goddamn birds on top of everything.
Really?
These birds are populating at such a level, and I went to Winco not too long ago. Winco's not in the worst spot.
No.
Right off of Vegas.
On Buffalo? Yeah.
Which is a pretty nice spot.
Very.
It's so destroyed with trash. That was the third
What?
thing. So much trash in that parking lot, which was a nice parking lot at one point.
What?
Where Kmart used to be.
Yeah.
There was so much garbage and trash all over the place, and I was sitting there like, why the fuck is there so much trash? And
that's crazy.
There's no one to clean up the trash as much anymore, and there were so many fucking pigeons that when something dropped on the ground, they just swarm the street.
They're like seagulls.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't ever remember it being like that.
Things. I'm sorry to be a fucking broken record, but times are changing. Times are definitely changing. I was telling my fiance this in the car earlier today. The older we get, the more we see through the bullshit. We took off our rose-colored sunglasses a long time ago, and especially like me and Lynn said, working security, you have to face reality. You have to accept the fact that people are people, and they are capable of doing some of the best stuff and also some of the worst shit. And I'm just thankful that what we have had to encounter through our experiences hasn't been anything super duper life threatening per se. Lynn has had a closer brush with death than I have, but at the same time, it puts you in a headspace where you're like, okay, I realize that I can't just wake up today and expect nothing bad to happen. I can't just pretend like nothing bad happens in the world.
Consistently aware, like even the last little reality check that I had is that I went to EOS with my brother a couple days afterwards. I want to say, yeah, it was a couple days afterwards, and it was the EOS right there on West Alta and Rainbow. There used to be a 24-hour fitness. There's you know what I'm talking about. It was right where I used to live.
Yeah.
Right,
we're Home Depot.
Yes, in that parking lot. So there's an Albertsons in that parking lot, right next
towards
to where,
the end.
Yeah,
yep.
Right where she
Super
used,
X.
She used to work at that pet store. So the one right next to it, right?
Yeah.
So that Albertsons used to be so nice, and I went in there, and it was rough. I was going in there just to get some fruit because I was just craving it after the gym. There were so many vagrants inside there.
What?
Like laying in between the aisles on the floor.
What?
Yeah. There was a busted up BMA, a black male adult, walking up and down the aisles and just staring at people, not doing anything. I'm like, okay, whatever. It's just one homeless guy.
Right.
And then there was a homeless couple, like two tweakers, two white female, a white female and a white male. They were just laying in the fucking ground, just taking fucking boxes of shit off the counter and sitting there eating cereal. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Shit,
and then all the way down near where like the juices were, another fucking one, another homeless guy, just like pants all the way down. You can tell that he had pretty much shit his pants. They were covered and stuff, and he's just talking to himself, staring down at the floor.
I can guess.
So many.
I can theorize why. So the biggest thing is Vegas is rebuilding or regentrification, some people refer to, where all the older parts of Vegas are being torn down, rebuilt, refurbished, making them look new and spotty or spotless. So the homeless are getting kicked out from down there, which were their old stomping grounds.
Yeah, I think
on top of that,
move in itself,
you have inflation, unemployment, COVID, and people not being able to work. So now I would say our number of homeless have damn near doubled since COVID. So you have more homeless people on the street, less places for them to go. It's almost like you could almost say this is how it works with man moving into the animal kingdom. How we keep building and we keep building and we need more land, more land. Well, the more land we take up, that's less land for those creatures, critters, and wildlife to live on. It's the same thing that's happening with the homeless right now. We're rebuilding everything, so it's super nice. And we can't have homeless people over here because this is our brand new shop and all this stuff. So they're going to migrate somewhere else. And now this is where it's at.
They're moving up into the parts of town where we have...
That used to be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, how far up do they go? Because if you're looking at as far as construction goes, all the newer parts of town are on the outskirts.
Yes.
Like you got to go towards Blue Diamond. You got to go up towards Centennial. You got to go towards...
They can't make it out that far.
No, they're not going to survive that far. So now we're getting them stuck. We're central.
They're in the inner city.
Yes. We're central. If you had to look at everything, because the strip's more northbound.
Well, I would say so. You hit Summerlin. There's like certain points.
Summerlin's west.
It's almost like Judge Dredd, where Summerlin.
There's sectors.
Yeah, there's sectors of Vegas, but you can tell certain parts of Vegas that the homeless population is under control. So, like, I used to work at Citibank up in the lakes off of Durango and Sahara.
Yeah, I remember that.
There was 2 homeless people. Those were the only 2 homeless people for so long. Everybody that worked at Citibank knew them. Yeah. Like, people would give them food and money and clothes because those were the only 2 homeless people. It's gotten a little bit worse, but not like what you're talking about.
Nowhere near as bad.
Not like, I'm going to walk into Chipotle and there's a homeless person sleeping in the bathroom. No. That's not going to happen.
No.
You know what I mean? So, and it sucks because I don't want to sound snooty. I don't want to sound like I'm too good to like I'm rich and hoity-toity. But it's like we work hard to live a certain lifestyle.
The amount of and I sound like prissy or snobby. It's like where I'm at right now isn't the best spot. I was accustomed to living a little bit farther up. Like anything up, I was good to go.
Yeah.
Now being off, it's like I get aggravated driving in between. Like it was to wrap up this portion of it.
Yeah.
It's getting to the point now where just the area that we're in is getting so bad. Like I was never in certain areas of town where it's like, okay, you know, I'd never thought of myself in a dangerous situation where I couldn't get myself out of it. But it got so bad to where it's like they're in my complex, mind you. There was a white guy that came out, and I could hear him yelling outside. And this was yesterday. I go to walks my window, and I hear him yelling at this like really busted up looking black girl. And he was yelling at her, and I could barely understand, but he was saying stuff like, you know, why were you watching me back my car in or do something like that? And she's like, oh, you know, I fucking wasn't. Don't worry about it. And they were going back and forth, and she said, you know what? I'm gonna go get something out of my car. And he goes, you know what? I'm going to go get something out of my house. So he walks one way and she walks the other way. Right here, right next to where I'm pointing at, there's kids that play in this spot all the time. It annoys the fuck out of me.
A little playground.
Yeah, a little playground for like a bunch of little like baby kids that like to jump around and stuff. Yes.
Yes.
With a really ratchet black lady that lives right underneath there. The rest of the neighbors are okay, but this spot right here is trash. And I'm like, great. They're probably going to come out with guns while these kids are playing. No fucks given. There's a little alley right here in the side.
Yeah.
I hear them still arguing, but I couldn't tell if it was arguing, and not to be racist, but when black people get ghetto, when they're just having a conversation, they're still sounding like they're fighting. And these two, the ratchet black girl and then this older black lady are talking, but they're talking as if they're fighting, but it's just them talking because of how loud they were being.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, it's nothing serious. So I go back to doing what I'm doing, and then 3 minutes pass. I hear the guy come down the hallway, and he's yelling at both of them now. And the kids are right there. And they just start beating the shit out of each other. Both these black ladies are beating the shit out of the white guy. Just going back and forth. And there's kids just standing there. And they're tossing the football back and forth to each other. These kids are probably like...
This is normal, dude. This is normal.
Where it's like, a part of me is like, should I go downstairs and control it?
What's the fucking point?
And then I was just like, no. The fact that these kids are watching this, they're seeing them like beat the shit out of one another, and then they're still playing Foursquare. And
Vegas is turning into Gotham City.
Like, that's exactly it. It was giving me Gotham City vibes. I was like, this is fucking crazy.
Yeah, and they're going to grow up with all these fucked up mindsets.
Rather than moving them into the house knowing that this is going to happen.
Nope,
they're like,
let them watch.
Fucking beat the shit out of this guy with the kids there.
Dude, the world is changing, and we have to change with it, and it's I feel like
adaptivity
is not a word.
It's my word. And I'm sticking to it.
I feel like we're the old people way too early.
Yeah.
Like I was expecting to say these things and have these views when I was 50, 60 years old.
In our 30s, man.
I'm 30 fucking 4, man. And I feel like our time I feel like we were teenagers centuries ago.
Right.
These kids are so far removed. And I'm like, dude, it's only been one generation between us and these kids. And everything's different. But it's not all doom and gloom. It's just you're having to see the world for what it is. This is real life. This is day to day for the average working lower to upper middle class working citizen. This is our day to fucking day. Over near my house, because we live right off the street, like house, sidewalk, street. Fucking Lynn's car got destroyed. They're not psychopaths. What are they? They're kind of off their rockers. They're special. Sociopaths, yeah. They're special, so they're walking up and down the street yelling, asking for money, and causing destruction and havoc, and no one's doing anything because this is normal.
That's normal, yes.
You know what I mean? So I feel like it's Judge Dredd, like it's or Demolition Man. You know, shit's just happening, and we have to adapt with it. So, like Lynn said, you know, he's prepared to deal with himself and take care of his family. I'm working on it because I hate guns, but I'm about to get 2 or 3 of them just because of where my girl works and her travels, and we're starting this business and everything. I don't want somebody coming to take what I got that I worked for type situation.
Agreed.
But let's go ahead and wrap that part up.
Yes, sir.
And we will see you in the next episode.
So long.
No.
Go Power Rangers.
Oh, too soon.
Right? I'm sorry.
Too fucking soon.
I'm sorry. Hey, man, all of my idols, they're slowly trickling away. They're slowly trickling away. You know what's crazy is that the relevancy of somebody doesn't become relevant until they're passing.
In most, yeah.
You know, again, another icon that we lost recently, Jason David Frank, the green/white Ranger.
Green, white, and red Ranger.
Yes.
All
Rangers. So
pretty much,
you get certain actors that play, you know, domain to one person, one persona.
Yeah, they're like typecast.
Yeah. So where like you can't think of anybody that would fill that spot in like Hugh Jackman being there's no other person other than who this person would be. Pink Ranger, Red Ranger, nobody really cares, more or less. But
hey, Trini, Kimberly, Jason.
Well, Trini
what
died.
About Zach?
Trini
he was
died
black
a long time ago. Like right when
Trini died.
The Yellow Ranger? Yeah, Yellow Ranger. She died after the second season.
What?
Yeah, she died in a car crash. Car going like off of a cliff and blowing up. Early. Yeah. I'll have to look it up.
We were too young. I probably didn't even notice.
No, yeah, they switched her out.
Because they replaced her with the black girl.
Yes, they replaced her black girl. Yeah, Aisha, because
Aisha.
They replaced her with her because the Asian one, she died after like the second season, like super young.
Wow. Okay.
So the Red Ranger was always
sad all
some
over
dude
again.
named Jason or whatever.
His name was Jason.
Was it Jason?
It was Jason.
But the Pink Ranger, so
Kimberly,
even in the current Power Ranger movie, the one that they came that I never even watched.
Was she in there?
There was a part where I kind of saw a clip of it. Now that he's passed and they're showing like a bunch of clips. Yeah. Remembers him. There's a part where there's 2 female Power Rangers and they're sitting at a coffee table and like one drops a pen and the other one catches it and they're trying to like move to catch, like kind of one up each other.
Yeah.
And you can tell their abilities are kicking in because of how fast they're moving. And they knock over the coffee and they stop for a second in the middle of the cafe and they look to the left and it's Tommy and Kimberly sitting right there looking at him. It's the actual.
Was this an after credit?
No, it was during. It was the middle of the movie.
What?
They're sitting there looking at it like, what the hell? And they're like, oh, sorry. And then they cut off. And then there's a part at the end where they bring their Zord in, and there's everybody coming through like doing the social media thing.
Yeah.
And Tommy and Kimberly's in there too, recording on their phone.
What?
So they trickle them in bits and pieces, but
it's not the time.
No, just to sum up.
Yeah.
You know, this character.
See,
yeah. There's a video that I have to show you, which is really fucking good. It's it's Ryu versus the Green Ranger.
Yeah,
I showed it to you before.
I think we watched that,
and it's actually Tommy fighting.
Oh my gosh!
And he even does that every time he does it.
Yes,
stuff like that.
Dude, that was Tommy's thing.
He fights him and takes out Ryu, becomes the Green Ranger, stabs his sword through him.
Oh
and
my gosh!
My nightmare at the end of it. It's just those iconic kind of actors are really, really hard to find nowadays. Because realistically, I don't know a lot of movie stars or TV series stars where I could relate to.
Well,
them.
Tommy actually was a kung fu legend.
Yeah, he had his own. He fought. He had was like 5-0, like MMA fights and stuff like that. You can find.
He had his own dojo.
His own dojo.
He was pretty much Karate Kid.
Yeah, he did all kinds of stuff. But yeah,
damn it, man.
Rest in peace, man.
Sad face.
Yeah, no more morphin' time.
No, what was that weird, fucked up parody of the Power Rangers song you played for me that one time?
What was it? Oh no! don't ruin it. Don't ruin it. I'm not even gonna put it on. You know what I'm talking about, though. Yeah, just go look up what is the? It's called no. I'm not gonna sing it on there. I'm not even gonna sing it on there because that shit was fucking horrible. No. If you look up on YouTube, Clangers, I think, and you type in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, they did a parody. And the parody's fucking...
It's rough.
The parody's rough, but it's funny. And it's just them making fun of, like, obviously, back in the day when people were making stuff in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, we had hokey... You
didn't realize how racist certain shows were or how discriminatory it was. Like how, obviously, the Pink Ranger was a white female. The Black Ranger was a black guy. Yellow Ranger was Asian. Yeah, so it's like... It's just the way they were doing it. Even the putties, they were making fun of the putties because the putties would just go blah, 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 blah. They were so that's Clangers. Yeah, look up Clangers on YouTube.
Good times. So for those of you who are keeping up, so the last episode, Lynn asked me what his favorite horror game was, and I didn't answer that question by the end of the episode, but I did answer it after while we were off the air, while we were off the record.
You know, and I had 2-3 people actually bring it up with me too, saying that they couldn't figure out what it was until I mentioned the hand.
Fucking Dead Space.
You know, did you know that I knew there was a remake coming, that the remake is out next month?
Really?
For the first one, which I'm 100%.
Oh yeah,
because it came out on the PS3.
Yes.
So that's how old it was. It never came out before.
See, the problem is you're a sick fuck, and I think you need medication.
I think
because when I got here,
exposure.
So in case you're new, as this is your first time listening, Lynn wanted to play this game called the Callisto Protocol. Mm-hmm. And it's from the makers of Dead Space.
Yeah, it's called what is it? Striking something. I don't have to look it up.
So, you know, I've talked about this multiple times. Lynn has this ridiculous obsession with fucking horror games. The kid will crank up the fear factor to the max. So I come in.
Striking Distance Studio. There you go.
The house is pitch fucking black. I'm like, Lynn, why are you in a cave? He's got one candle lit in the kitchen, which you can't see.
I lit the candle so it would smell decent when he came in here.
So it would smell decent in his cave. So I'm like, why is it so dark? He's like, oh, I'm playing this new game. And I was like, oh, okay. He just wanted, graphic, blah, blah, blah. And I sit down. I was like, is this the game? He's like, yeah, it's the game. I was like, what sick fuck turns off all the lights in his own house by himself?
You have to set the atmosphere. I don't, you know what? I was thinking about this yesterday. For buying this system, which, I wanted to be just up to date with whatever it was.
Yes.
When I got it for my birthday, I was pretty excited about it. And realistically, it's either I don't have time to play video games.
Yes.
Or I don't have interest to obtain it. Like, I wanted to play the new God of War, but I haven't even beat the first one yet.
Yeah.
I purposely tried to restart it. And even now, when that game came out in like 2014.
It's a lot.
It's still good.
Yes.
But it's like, I don't have an hour or two.
Fuck 6.
To submerge myself in these games. So it's like, to actually sit and play it. When I get in and lock in, I'm playing. Yeah. But then I'm like, fuck, I could have done this. I need to do this. Even today, I had so many different errands I needed to run before you came. And I still ate up a good 2 hours of my time playing the game. And it's the immerse effect of, someone made it was something I was watching. It goes, what makes the difference between being scared watching a horror movie and being scared playing a video game? What do you think?
I think playing a game makes it far worse because
you're immersed in.
You put yourself in that character's shoes.
You're controlling this character.
And on top of that, with a movie, the movie is going to progress no matter what.
Yeah.
You close your eyes, you can walk away, you can watch it. It's going to progress.
Yeah.
In the game, it only progresses if you progress.
Yes, and that's why I
like what makes it
the
worse.
Aspect of it. And people are kind of like, it's mixed reviews. I think it got at IGN, they did like a 7 out of 10.
That's still good for IGN.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
But people are particular. Like people are bitching about how certain parts of the combat, it gets to the part where it's just too hard.
Yeah.
But then it's just, okay,
I'm too hard.
Okay. It's because you suck at playing. So it's like little things like that, or they want it to be Dead Space so bad because you can see when I was showing you little clips of it, you can tell how it used to relate to it.
You can see it, yes. But see, that's like what we talked about before. I'm cool with it being called the Callisto Project, with them taking yes, thank you, Protocol. with them taking inspiration from Dead Space.
They still,
you see the inspiration, but it's not.
It's not. It's like trying to. I don't even know what I could relate to. It would be like a name brand to a Kroger brand. This would be the Kroger brand of Dead
Mountain
Space.
Dew.
Yes.
Dr.
Thunder.
Dr. Thunder, Mount Lightning or something.
Mountain Lightning Dew and Dr. Thunder.
Something, yeah. I was like, what the fuck?
Kroger brand stuff has its place as long as you know you're going into getting a Kroger brand thing. So when I got it, I'm like, okay, obviously this isn't the same, and obviously it's not, but the mechanics are cool.
Yeah.
I was showing him the melee combat of... the fact that you can see the guys, like him dripping sweat.
Yes.
When things attack you, you actually have to pivot.
I would almost say this game, as far as the combat, is better than Dead Space, because in Dead Space
there's no melee combat.
You could only use your gun.
You don't use
or whatever.
And they gave you in Dead Space. You had an arsenal because you had an Iron Man suit.
Yes.
So it got to a point. The deeper you got into Dead Space, there was no challenge. Like in the beginning, I'm like, fuck, this is scary because I only have limited bullets.
Right.
If I don't shoot them in the right angle, they mutate into something else and it makes it harder. If you get hit and they get a hold of you, they can kill you. But as you got farther in, it's like, okay, now I have like the Mark II version of my Iron Man.
Yeah.
Suit. Now I have a shotgun. Now I have a machine gun.
Right.
Okay, now it's just strategic, which I liked. This, you get, I think, maybe 3 guns. You don't have your Iron Man suit yet, and you have to do melee combat. And so if something's coming at you, you have to make sure you time how they hit. And if I break off a limb, another limb could grow back and make it even harder.
Oh, that's intense.
So you're actually being tested. And I feel like certain people are like, they want a gimme, like, oh, just make it the way that I want.
Well, they've made games too easy in general.
It's like, I don't want an easy game. I want something that's going to be a challenge. So if I get killed, cool. Yeah. That means I fucked up. Let me learn from it and do something.
I don't want to have to go to Dark Souls every time I want a difficult game to play.
That's exactly
you know what I mean? That seems to be everybody's drift. They're like, oh, go play Dark Souls. I like Dark Souls. I've watched everybody and their mom play Dark Souls. I get it. Dark Souls. Cool. What is it called? Soulsborne games. That's what I like to see. The Soulsborne games where it's like, this is
buying
taking inspiration from.
Yes, buying it is going to give you a challenge.
Right.
And with this game came out at a perfect time because the remake comes out in a month and the remaster.
Right. That might be why this one was so short. They might have been working on the remaster.
I think so, because the ones who made the original was called Visceral, and Visceral got disbanded, and it came out on PS3. How far apart was the PS3 from PS4 creation?
Ooh, a few years.
How many? Like maybe 5
or 5
years?
I think.
So the last one, they made 1, 2, and 3 of Dead Space. It stopped after like 2012, 2013. And then 10 years later, this game comes out.
Yeah.
And it's a co-creator of somebody. So the fact is that they shotgun this into the distance and it looked this good with just the bare minimum.
Right.
Shut the fuck up.
You got lucky. Yeah. My game, Darksiders, didn't.
Trash.
They
the first one
Once
was so
Nordic
good.
and THQ disbanded or got bought out, whatever. I would say after Darksiders 2, it just turned into garbage.
It was garbage. I didn't even play 2. 1 was really good. 2 was okay with death. Now there's like a top-down version.
Yeah, it's a top-down. I'm like, dude, I don't want to. No. Why?
And that's why it's like when I realized it after playing that one, I was like, I have one game on the fucking table, and that was someone bought me, was Elden Ring.
Oh, yeah?
There hasn't been anything. Elden Ring came out in like February. There's no other games I really wanted to buy that I was like...
No A-list games or AAA titles.
games, yeah. The only AAA that I was looking for was this and Ragnarok.
Yeah.
And that's it. For the whole year. So it just goes to show how...
Which, spoiler, he doesn't call him boy once in a damn game. I get it, whatever.
I haven't even seen it yet. Don't ruin that for
me. I know, that's the only spoiler I'm going to give you. He doesn't say it.
But yeah, I'd give it like an 8 out of 10. If you go in with low expectations, it's still a really good game. There's a lot to grasp with. The story is very enriching, and the graphics, it's like you can jog in the game, but I take the time to walk.
Yes.
Because
you
can tell how just gorgeous things are, like when like the body dysmorphia of how they really work on some of the monsters. It's like you're watching an actual horror movie.
Yes.
I'm like, damn, this looks really good. And then when the fights come in, it immerses you back out of it. Yes.
It doesn't take you out of the fight.
No, when you're going to hit, you can, like, the controller shakes every time you hit.
Right. The screen shakes.
Feel
there's motion blur.
And then I showed D one of the deaths.
Yeah, that was fucking so that's gonna lead into our next topic. Because one of the deaths, which is the only one I could really handle.
They banned it from, is it Japan or China? Because it's too gory. It's too gruesome.
Really?
Yeah, because the deaths, there's multiple deaths for the main character.
Yeah.
And that was one of like
Dude
10,
got the top of his shit just yeeted.
Ripped in half.
Just and I was his tongue It was just, I was like, it was just a lot.
It's good time.
But it's funny because seeing them made me think of the movie I just watched, the Northman. Northman, not Norseman, because I'm going to say it wrong. The Northman,
Norse, but yeah, Northman.
It's the Northman.
Yeah,
that was a great fucking movie.
Funny that you just seen. Yeah, we'll cover it on the next one.
Well, wait, on the next episode?
Yeah, the next.
We're ending it now?
Yeah, that's gonna be the next one.
Huh?
We're done.
But I don't want to go.
Bye.
I don't want to go.
So long.
You can't make me.
So long.
Can I talk about it now?
Yes, you can talk about it now. We're here now because
I waited for so long.
I had just seen it last week. I saw it last week.
It's amazing.
Oh, yeah, it is Northman. I don't know why.
It's Northman. Let it go.
So Rotten Tomato rated it super high, but then people rated it at like a 69 just to go see it.
I don't think people were ready for this movie, to be honest.
They weren't. Just the way that it pushed out, you really had to you had to immerse yourself into it. Like, you have to sit in. There's certain movies you go into and it's like, I just want something to entertain me, so I'm going to sit back and wait for the action. This one's like, the story was good.
This movie doesn't give a shit if you're entertained.
The story was good because it's like, I want to see fights, but then at the same time, I'm like, you don't really need them. The enrichment of everything behind it was pretty on point.
Well, it was interesting because, like I was telling Lynn, what led me to watch The Northman was I had literally just not literally binge watched. I tried. It's time. But I just rewatched all of the Lord of the Rings movies, not The Hobbit. The original Lord of the Rings movies, all three of them. And I just needed to, like Lynn said, I just needed to immerse myself in somebody else's world for a little while. I needed that escapism. And it was funny because, man, I was, my girl would come in from time to time. She was like, oh, what are you watching? I'm like, Lord of the Rings. She's like, isn't that old?
Were you watching The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings?
No, the original Lord of the Rings. I haven't watched The Hobbit. I'm good.
You haven't watched The Hobbit?
I will eventually. It just feels like a remake of Lord of the Rings.
People bitched about it because they wanted Lord of the Rings. And obviously The Hobbit's a prequel.
Yes.
It's good for what it is. It's all dwarf driven, so there's not a whole lot of humans into it. But you know, they still got Orlando Bloom in there as Legolas, which he fucking kills it.
Yeah.
Obviously Aragorn's not in there, or Gimli, the elf.
Yeah, everybody's just been switched though, because there is a dwarf. There is a guy that looks like Aragorn.
There's multiple dwarfs in there.
Right.
That's like mostly around them. I would definitely, because it's Bilbo Baggins.
Yeah.
It's good for what it is. Yeah. Especially because there's three of them.
Do not look up the adult parody of Bilbo Baggins. Don't do it. And if you do, it's going to be a hoot.
It's not.
I can't say it because we're trying to be somewhat kid friendly.
Yeah, that's
but it's hilarious.
Yes, that's hilarious.
So I rewatched all of them, fell in love with the movie all over again because it was just so fucking well done. Even with the shitty CGI, your mind was okay with it because it was like they gave you a sense of scale to the whole theme.
It's Tolkien, right?
It's J.R. Tolkien.
J.R. Tolkien. That makes it. Yeah.
I'm not a huge Tolkien fan.
I mean, it's the only thing I know.
However, I do love the Lord of the Rings movies, which were derived from the Tolkien books.
Right.
So I can give the man his props where his flowers where he deserves them.
Now, if you're not gonna watch the Hobbit, then you can't watch the Rings of Power.
No. We're not going there yet. I'm still talking about the Northman.
Okay.
You eat it.
Okay. Yes.
You sit in your corner.
We will roll that.
So the reason I fell in love with the Northman after watching Lord of the Rings is because I love that old medieval Dark Ages theme to the movies. Like, it's like me and Lynn talked about. I mean, honestly, I belong in a coliseum. Like, I should be fighting shit. I want to just hurt things and break stuff. That's just what I like to do. And so watching movies like that really gets me going. So watch Lord of the Rings, finish the third movie, cried a little bit because of Sam and Frodo and all of them. And then the Northman came up. My girl's sitting there. She's like, have you seen this? I'm like, no, but I want to watch it. I just get a feeling I should really watch it.
You guys have it was on Prime. Is that what you watched?
Was it on Prime? Yeah. I think it was on Prime.
Yeah, because if you watched Lord of the Rings, it was on Prime as well.
That's fair. That's fair. So turn it on. We don't know what to expect. I feel like oh, this is going to be a documentary where they're like, such and such AD, such and such AD, and then it's like, just weird. No, this movie had me from jump. I love the whole premise of the movie. It's ultimately, and I really don't care about spoilers, so I'm just going to tell you spoilers, but whatever. The whole movie is about a little boy. He's a prince. He gets removed from his kingdom, has to live a life outside of his kingdom, comes back home,
so dark,
and avenges his family.
The ending of it.
It's like a dark King Arthur is the best way I can explain it, because he gets a vision from the shaman or something.
It's the gods, pretty much.
And they pretty much tell him, and that's what I kind of love. They tell him the whole movie. They tell you the whole movie in the beginning.
There's the family tree.
They're like, this is what's going to happen, and this is where you're going to have your final battle. And you're like, okay, cool. I know where we're going, but I want to see how it develops.
Right.
He has these three little sayings he utters. He's like, I will avenge you, father. I will save you, mother, and I'll kill you, Fulnir. And I was like, yes, let's go. Long and short of it, he turns into a fucking beast. But the reason I say it's kind of like a dark King Arthur is because he comes back. This shaman lady tells him to go find a sword that will pretty much amplify his rage.
The way that he fights that Draugr.
Yes.
I remember the Draugrs from Skyrim, but it's this undead, like
amazing
that just,
and it was all in his head.
Yeah, it was all in his head. The entire time. Yeah.
So he gets a sword that amplifies his rage.
Well, the way that they do the sword is it only can be actively used at night.
Well, no.
Remember he tries to sheath it out in the middle of the day and he can't pull it.
No. That's not quite what happened. You're close.
The sword was meant for his final fight.
It's called the Nightblade. Yeah. So you're right about that. But he can take it out anytime he wants to, quote unquote. The blade is solely meant for him to reap vengeance upon his uncle. That's it. But the thing is, the sword will only allow him to take his vengeance when he's gotten to that point where the fates told him he would kill his uncle.
He still uses the sword at night.
No, because so how it worked was he can kill anybody he wants with that sword but his uncle. So if you watch it again, pay attention when they tell him his prophecy. They say he's going to fight and kill his enemy or his uncle in a burning lake, burning river.
Obviously the volcano.
So in one of the scenes, which to further drive it home, I love how they did this. One of the scenes, he takes the sword and his uncles are literally like inches away from him. He's about to round the corner. He goes to try and pull out the sword, and Inuyasha's his ass. It won't come out. Because he's not in the lake of fire. He's not in the burning lake.
So then why is he able to pull it out when he's like killing all? Like
because that's the whole point. He has to follow his prophecy.
Oh.
The prophecy says you will kill him here. You cannot kill him any other. You can kill anybody you want. Anybody else you want, because that sword, he went hunting. Yeah. He killed people. Shing, shing, shing. Yeah. Killed the whole village damn near of the guy's guards.
Yeah, the guards and everything.
But it wasn't until he got to that lake of
even
fire.
One of the guards went to go pull.
He couldn't pull it out.
Couldn't sheath it out. Yeah.
Right, because it first of all it was almost like Mjolnir. It wasn't his sword.
No,
and he wasn't fueled by the same vengeance as I can't remember the kid's name.
I can't remember his name.
I can't remember the name. But the reason I love the movie is because there was no
Amleth. Amleth, yeah.
It's almost like Hamlet.
Yeah.
The reason I love this movie was there was little to no CGI. The only CGI I saw was when he cut off Homeboy's nose, and they kind of CGI'd over to make it look like some of the flesh had grown back. That was it. The whole movie, everything was shot right there. I think they were in Iceland, probably Greenland or Finland, somewhere over there.
Because Greenland, no,
Greenland is icy. Iceland is green. Greenland, yeah. So it was somewhere over there. It was just beautiful. It was. I highly, especially if you like movies like Troy or movies like The Gladiator, The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings. You like those old timey movies, but they're not afraid to show you
rich story to
how the fuck it really is. Because I don't doubt that's how it really was for them back in those days. It was, you killed my father.
Just jump off of a boat and swim.
The man, yes, but it was legit.
That's normal for them.
It wasn't like he swam across the ocean. You're like, that's bullshit.
He was just.
It was a short distance, but you're like, that water's fucking freezing.
Yes.
And he swam through that shit, hopped on a boat.
It brings me back to when we went cliff jumping.
Yes.
And thinking the distance from one cliff to the other.
You're like, it's so short.
It's so short, and then you get in the water, you're like, this is way fucking farther. And it's like when he's at the end and he finds out he's having 2 children.
Yes.
So he's like, well, I can't leave because
he'll
needs to stop or he'll chase us.
Yes.
He's still out in the middle
and just
of the ocean. Jumps in and somehow still makes it across. Yeah.
But it was so good. So if you're not afraid of a little blood and gore, it has a hell of a twist. It has the
plot twist at the end is
all the actors are fucking amazing. All of them were spot on. Willem Dafoe, I didn't even recognize him. It took me like a good 5 minutes to recognize Willem Dafoe, and I was like, oh yeah, we're in for a wild ride. So I just wanted to throw that out there because that really got my juices flowing. I love it. Thank you for making that. So Lynn wants to talk about
The ring of power.
The vaginas of power.
The one ring to rule them all.
The vaginas of power.
The one ring to rule them all. Don't be sexist.
Talk.
Don't be sexist. You're just jealous because you're behind.
I'm not sexist. Eat a dick. No, that wasn't sexist.
Not with the vaginas of power. There's no room, there's no room for
no,
dicks
because all the dicks are dead.
Yeah. There's no room for the dicks of the damn.
I'm gonna let Lynn give you his point.
Why we were going
what got you into it?
Yeah, so why when going back and forth on these movie topics, we always tend to be critics when it comes to that. And for people that may or may not want to go see it, maybe if you hear it from us, we're pretty biased with most of the things that we watch and see. It takes a good amount for me to sit down and watch something and actually be kind of like enriched by it. Yeah. Because if I am watching something, I do try not to let the politics side of it come in, or the woke bullshit that it comes in to ruin something. I'm still gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna watch it for what it is. Yes. They obviously put money into it. If it's not trying to put a message in my head to say that something's gonna be a certain kind of way, I'll watch it.
$1 billion they sunk into this shit.
With the Rings of Power, with that coming out, I was going to wait for them to finish all the episodes. It came out the same time as the new Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Yeah, same thing. House of Dragons. Yeah, which I haven't watched.
Which I will watch.
Yes, I don't have HBO, so I can't watch it. Right. But I do want to watch it because I was a Game of Thrones fan. It was good.
Fucking Matt Smith, you delicious fucking man.
Who's Matt Smith?
Matt Smith, fucking Doctor Who. You wouldn't know because you're an uncultured swine.
No, I don't.
But it's okay. One day,
peasantry.
One day you'll be educated.
Peasantry. If I had to rate it, I feel like we should do that going forward. So first, what would you rate the Northman 1 out of 10?
Norseman, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10?
For me, 10 out of 10.
I would give it a 9 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
I would give it a 9 out of 10, yes. If we're going to start going forward with these series and movies, we start to rate them our form of a Rotten Tomato.
It's a 10 out of 10 for me.
I would give it a 9 out of 10. A good solid 9 out of 10.
Why 9?
I wanted a little more combat. Just a little bit. A little bit more.
That would have been unrealistic for me.
It came...
I felt like they kept it very realistic.
The only thing, because there was a jumping point of how he got... To double back a little bit onto the Norseman, when he got raised by those berserkers.
Yes.
Right? I liked that.
Yes.
I wanted more of that. And it's
but it would have taken away from...
Exactly. The movie could have... It
would have made the movie longer.
Yes, it would have made the movie longer, which I would have gladly watched.
Right, that's fair.
Because the berserker aspect of it, when he went in as a berserker...
Yes.
Man, that looked good. And I hated how he had to snuff that part of him out to blend in.
But it makes
sense. It makes sense.
But yes, you wanted it.
The berserker
it was almost like seeing Guts and Leonidas
when you
make a baby.
Him walking down the way... And he sheaths out both growling. Those swords. And he's growling because he's legit, like, just...
He thinks he's a fucking wolf. What does he call himself? The bear wolf?
He took a guy off the fucking horse and bit him in the neck.
Yes.
And then starts howling after.
Starts howling, everybody just...
So the berserker aspect of that, I was like, damn, that would have been cool if they extended it. That's the only reason why. Other than that...
I don't know if people could have handled it if you would have extended it.
Probably not.
Because that would have got...
It was already almost a 3-hour movie.
Right.
For the Ring of Power, Amazon put... a lot of money into making it to where it's like watching a movie. Each episode is movie quality.
They put a lot of money into the CGI.
No, there's not a whole lot of CGI.
There's a ton of fucking CGI.
You can tell that in certain areas where they're shooting it, there wasn't a huge amount of CGI into it.
They built one of the first and most expensive
green
screen CGI sets that have ever been built for this show, my dude.
I didn't know
that. That's why I said the Northman, everything was on scene.
I thought they were shooting it within the vicinity.
No, they didn't really travel.
Don't ruin it for me.
I'm sorry. I saw behind the scenes. I'm a nerd.
Okay, so for the show, it's the prequel to the prequel. So Sauron,
it's the end of the first age going into the second age, which is where we got the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings.
Is still around. He
doesn't exist yet.
What's the guy's name?
Technically speaking,
you know why I like it, and to not build too much time on it.
Something Brand, Halbrand. Was it Halbrand?
The guy who cut a seal deer.
The Seal deer.
The human that cut Sauron's hand off to stop the Ring of Power. So there's good plot twist into it because Sauron's not around right now.
Yes.
A meteorite comes from the stars and crashes.
It's
and
Gandalf.
No, it's not Gandalf. It's not Gandalf.
I know, but it looks like him.
I had to look ahead of it because I thought because he's a giant human. I thought that it was Sauron.
That's fair.
They make it project because he picks up some fireflies and he has these weird druid abilities to control elements. Mm-hmm. And when things are around him, they're dying and but he looks like he's confused. Mm-hmm. Like he got reincarnated and doesn't know who he is yet.
Yeah.
So I'm like, is this the recreation of that guy? But you find out,
he's Gandalf.
Yeah, it's not Gandalf.
He's Gandalf.
But it is a wizard. So
he says the same shit Gandalf, so he's like, follow your nose. Like, no, don't say that.
See, now I got sidetracked about what I was talking about.
Penises.
You never played Shadows of Mordor, right?
No, but my brother did. Yes. I do know what it is.
So Shadows of Mordor, there is a ranger that is possessed by a wraith. The wraith is the guy who was the elf that built all the rings of power.
Oh, wow.
So in this, I can't remember what the damn name of the wraith was.
No, I know who you're talking about,
but that wraith is alive.
He's an elf blacksmith.
Yeah, so they're saying like, hey, we want to. This is before the rings of power ever even get made.
Yeah,
said, hey, we want to build a tower where these rings can be, where something can be made, forged, yes. And we need these towers built, and everyone's trying to figure out, well, who the fuck's gonna do it? And like, oh, it's this guy. And it's the same wraith, but he's not a wraith. He's an elf at that point, trying to kind of get everything together for it. So they have the young ranger from the game, who's like maybe in his teens, and then they have an older version of the elf, and they haven't met yet, but they're pulling pieces of the game into that, along with everything else. Like obviously, Frodo,
I can get down with that.
So I like how there's different stories, and one's pulling from the game, one's pulling from Lord of the Rings, and one's pulling from The Hobbit.
That's fair.
And they're trying to push it all together to lead it towards something. So I see what they're doing with it, that they're making an enriched story to try and make it bigger than it is. Supposedly, in order to sell the rights to make this show,
to buy it,
they had to make 5 seasons mandatory.
Yeah. Well, see, the problem is they got, and I forget the name of what they bought, because Amazon purchased a chunk of the Lord of the Rings overall.
Yes, and
they didn't get rights to use Frodo or any of them.
But in order to purchase that chunk, they had to make a minimum of 5
But
seasons.
see, here's my issue with this. A lot of this stuff is made up because it wasn't mentioned in the books, which is fine. You can elaborate on some stuff, whatever. The whole point of it was Tolkien never really discussed
Celebrimbor. Yeah, he's in there.
Tolkien never really discussed the quote unquote first age. He just kind of talked about, he kind of gave you like a brief overview and how the first age ended. And then he kind of picked up with Bilbo and Frodo and them and moved forward.
Right.
So Amazon purchased the rights from pretty much like in a book, how you open up the front page of the book and they give you the prologue before you actually read the book. That's pretty much what they purchased. They purchased the prologue to Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And they're making 5 seasons out of this 1-page prologue. And I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it's not the same as when they made Lord of the Rings itself and they had access to the books and they could use the names and stuff like that.
It's kind of like when animes come out and they have to wait for the manga to catch up. So because the manga hasn't caught up, they just start filling in random things.
Well, there's nothing to catch up to. It just was never discussed. Tolkien didn't really, like I said, he didn't really go into, he kind of glazed over the first age and went straight into the second age, which was kind of getting into the age of man, going from the age of the elves, if I'm not mistaken. So a lot of the stuff, though, that my scrutiny with this show series is how they advertised it, how they marketed it, how they marketed it to us. It was a lot of, representation and social justice warriors and virtue signaling.
And I came in and had D not kind of updated me on what it actually was, it went right over my head.
Yes.
I thought it was just because it was an all-female cast.
Right, which is going to be fine because, like I was telling my girl, females have always been represented. Like, even watching the old school Lord of the Rings movies, all the females had authority and power, when they were in the right cast. But with this, it felt unnecessary because Galadriel, the main character, she had a warrior side to her, but was not this badass bitch that you see on screen.
Is that what you're talking about, the elf?
Yeah, Galadriel, the baby girl.
Yeah.
If you watch her in the original Lord of the Rings movie, she's graceful. She's beautiful. Her hair is long and flowing. She has this ambient, almost godlike light behind her when she talks without talking. That's Galadriel when you look at the original Lord of the Rings. And then you see her in Rings of Power and you're just like, so when does she turn into that? Because Lord of the Rings is more authentic to what Tolkien wrote. And I feel with Rings of Power, they took too many liberties to make a powerful female lead.
And that's exactly what they're doing. They're
trying to emphasize
on the female lead to make it seem like you said, it's trying to they're trying to tickle what they can. Now, mind you, this was being produced around the time when I don't even know if you can consider it called wokeism, but if it was at its peak, because I'm seeing a lot of things now where Netflix tried to do that. Netflix tried to go into the woke categories, making TV shows, and their stocks
it's just like the MCU,
so fucking bad that they bounced back and said, all right, we're done with the woke shit.
Yes.
And then there was a TV show on fucking Hulu. I can't remember what his name was. There's a TV there. So there was a TV show called New Girl that I used to watch.
Oh yeah, I saw a few episodes.
Remember the guy who played Winston? It was the only black guy in the show.
I was gonna say the black guy.
Yeah. So he got on a TV show where something happened where he got I hated the concept of it, and I saw what was coming before woke stuff got really big. And he got assaulted by cops because he was a black guy, and he got hit so hard in the head that he started seeing cartoon characters. And he was talking to his friend saying, hey, everywhere I go, everything's in like cartoon ways. And his friend looks at him and he goes, oh shit. And he goes, you're nothing happened to you, man. You're just woke now. And the TV show is called Woke AF. And it's because now that he got hit, he can see things in a woke manner. I couldn't even watch it. I went to go look to see, and I saw clips for it, and I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. That's what they're trying to do.
No, it was garbage. Yeah. Bro, I even saw the new Kid Cudi movie.
Oh, this Kid Cudi movie?
Kid Cudi, you remember? Was he like Snoop Dogg's nephew or cousin or something? Kid Cudi, he made all the stoner music back in the day.
No, I know who Kid Cudi is.
Oh, you know?
Yeah.
So he made a movie called Intergalactic, I think. Something like that.
What?
It's a love movie. It's about him meeting a girl and falling in love. It's a stupid fucking movie. And since we're rating shit, I'm going to give it like a 5 out of 10. It was garbage. However...
Lord of the Ring, or Ring of Power, I would give it like... I'm only 5 episodes in, but I give it like 7.
That's fair.
That's 7.
It felt like he ripped off Into the Spider-Verse, like the cell shading, everything. It was, and my girl agreed. She was like, it was Spider-Verse. It was Into the Spider-Verse without the powers. That's what it felt like. It was the shading, everything, the way they talk to each other.
It's a cartoon?
It's a cartoon. It's animated. It's one of those. It's one of those movies. I think it's called Intergalactic. It's something. It's a Kid Cudi movie, and for what it was worth, it was just hot mess. I didn't like it. I hated it.
And when did it come out?
It was. I want to say within the last 2 years.
Oh, Intergalactic. This shit went right over my head.
My girl found it.
What's the name of the album?
That was the name of one of his albums.
That's the name of the album.
But he made a movie. He made a movie that used like one of the names from one of the songs or something.
Oh, okay. I can see. Yeah, there's no fucking way.
It's one of those movies though. It felt like it was trying too hard to be black, and it's just like, okay, cool. Can we just have like a casual conversation between two black people?
A lot of those are like that. I
don't get it. Like we're overcompensating.
You know what?
For something that wasn't there.
To wrap it up,
yeah,
we're almost there. It's almost over.
Yes.
It's almost over. There's enough attention that's gone to this, and people have gotten to the point where like, all right, I'm fed up with it.
Yes.
Because you're not the only person I've heard about this. Everybody's saying the same thing.
Yes.
Like, I just want to watch this for what this was. Like what they're doing with The Witcher. Like how they're removing Henry Cavill.
And then Henry Cavill said, fuck it.
People are like, the reason why he pulled out is because he's like, it's not.
They weren't staying true
to
the story.
They're not staying true to the story. So they want to bring in someone else. So everybody's pulling out from The Witcher now.
Yes.
And they're trying to modernize it by adding in Liam Hemsworth. And trying to make it where it's like, they're trying to change up the cast and make it more dominant, like male to female ratio cast. And
you're right though, because Henry Cavill said now that he's doing Superman again, he's like, I want to do Superman how he was intended to be. Because Gunn, what's his name?
Yeah, James Gunn.
James Gunn, and then the dude that made
Christopher Nolan.
Who made the Justice League movies?
Christopher Nolan.
Nolan?
Christopher Nolan.
The one who made the full...
Yeah.
Snyder.
Oh, Zack Snyder.
Yeah. So he was saying he doesn't like how dark they've been making Superman. Yeah. Like that feels more Batman-ish. Yeah. He's like, I want Superman.
Did you get a chance to see? You didn't see Shazam?
No.
It was good.
No, I heard it was good,
Shazam
and I do want to see Black Adam.
And no, Shazam. What the fuck? I'm sorry. Black Adam.
Black Adam
was good. I didn't see Shazam. Don't give a fuck for it, only because it's too kiddish.
Yeah.
Black Adam was really good.
Yes.
The death toll and all the fights and stuff was pretty cool, and the fact is that they are bringing in Henry Cavill.
Well, and that's the thing. He's like, I want to be the happy Superman, because that's what you see in the comic books. Yeah. Superman's usually happy, and even Chris Hemsworth was, even though he's no longer Thor, his contract-wise, he's like, I wanted to get more the serious, more gritty Thor from the comic book, and you guys made him a fucking fool.
Love and Thunder was garbage.
Garbage.
They made garbage. They made Thor more playful.
They made him a fucking idiot.
Yeah, and it's like Thor's supposed to be a tank.
Thor is supposed to be. They almost made him like a stupid Tony Stark, like in some weird fucked up way, because Thor is supposed to be. He's old. The man's he's a Greek god. I'm sorry, a Norse god. Where He's been through battles. He has fought shit. He has battle scars. He's seen some shit. And you're like, oh, Mjolnir, I can't hold it. Shut the take that shit somewhere else. But I'm going to get off my soapbox because we are going way over our time.
Yeah.
So,
there's a lot of stuff to cover.
We want to hear your feedback. We want to hear your comments. Please let us know if you think we're being assholes. Come on, let us know. If you totally agree with us, let us know. Leave us a comment. Like, share, subscribe. I didn't say this at the beginning, but just so you know, all of our social media links, my book from Amazon, my fiance's drive school, all that's going to be in the links in the description down below. Go ahead and check out our Patreon. You'll love it. It's cheap and affordable.
Super cheap.
And I'm D.
This is Lynn.
Project Airwaves. We're signing out. Keep your head always in the clouds.
Keep your feet on the ground, always moving forward.
We will catch you in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening. Love you.
Bye.